So let's go to the Winning at Life hotline. We have Jesse from Hammond. Welcome to Winning at Life. How can we help you today, Jesse?
My wife and I have a living trust, a revocable trust. My wife passed away several years ago. Y'all were talking about opening a succession. All of the real property was in the trust at the time. About the only thing I could think of that might not have been in the trust was an automobile. And my question is, do I need to open a succession on her?
So that was the only thing outside of the trust is the automobile, any bank account or savings account?
No, all of that was in the trust.
Okay. What do you think, Wes?
Sounds like it was pretty well done. I think you're in a good spot. You know, I don't know if you were listening at the time we discussed those pour over wills, but that's usually what we're utilizing that for. The language we place in those pour over wills tends to cover automobiles, trailers, and other motorized vehicles, boats, and things like that, anything with a title. And the fact is you can take that will along with your registration and a death certificate to the DMV, and they will typically transfer a title at that point. You'll need the original, but they'll transfer a title usually for $35 right there at the DMV. And so that's our little workaround for those, assuming you have a pour over will.
And if the automobiles were in my name only, I didn't have to do that. Is that correct?
That's correct. You're not going to have a titling issue.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Can I give you one word of caution?
Sure.
If you didn't have a pour over will in place, I would go ahead and get one in place for you now, because you're in a good spot because of the way the automobiles are titled currently. But your heirs are not going to be in such an advantageous position. So if you get that pour over will drafted up, then your heirs are going to be able to take that same route we just discussed going to the DMV.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Awesome. Glad we could help, Jesse. Thanks for listening to Winning at Life. Sure. So when we have that coming up, succession, so what's typically the timing of that? So let's look at it two parts. Without this great paperwork like Jesse had, so that was pretty simple. There's actually zero timing to that. It's taken care of before it's happened. So if they don't have documentation, and because that's one of the biggest questions I get with, it just, and somebody comes to us and somebody else is handling it, like it's taken forever for this to get done. Why is that?
Yeah, a lot of it has to do, with your prep work. That's a big deal. Is everything in order? Are you leaving your heirs to search for what you owned? That can be a very, very bad start, and that is going to get you stuck in the mud pretty quickly. The other thing is, obviously some bickering back and forth between the heirs. Obviously, you could hire the wrong counsel to help you through that. That'll slow you down. But it's kind of a plethora of things. But it generally starts with poor planning, as far as again knowing where your assets are and how to get to them. And then secondarily, something you can't usually control is fighting amongst the heirs. Those are going to be your two hallmarks for a slow, drawn out succession process.